A very good morning to all. My name is Suchit Kumar. I am Assistant Professor of Agronomy in the School of Agriculture, SR University, Varangal. So currently I am dealing with the course Agro 301 Rainfed Agriculture and Watershed Management. So here in this today in this session we are going to discuss about the lecture 3 and 4. So this is the topic that we are going to discuss in the lecture 3, that's about the rainfed agriculture in India, its characteristics and challenges. So if you know that in the first two lectures we have discussed about the criteria for the division of various agriculture like either rain-fed agriculture, dry agriculture or dryland agriculture. So and in the second lecture we have discussed about the integrated watershed management program, its prospects and challenges. And today here in this session we are going to discuss about the rain-fed agriculture in India, its main characteristics and challenges. So let's get into the topic. So this rain-fed agriculture plays a crucial role in India's food security and rural economy. So this presentation explores the unique characteristics and challenges faced by the farmers in rain-fed areas, highlighting the significance of the crop production under these conditions. So if we see that, if we go much deeper into the topic, we can see one by one characteristics in next upcoming slides. So let's go into the first characteristic, that's the uncertain and limited annual rainfall. So as we all are familiar that the Indian agriculture is mainly based on monsoon rainfall. So as we know, there are two monsoons. One is the southwest monsoon and the northeast monsoon. And the abundant of rainfall that's required for Indian agriculture is received by the southwest monsoon. But here the problem is like we cannot guarantee that the same amount of rainfall is being received every year or year after the year. So there are some uncertainties in the rainfall, and we cannot say that there can be a guaranteed like required rainfall for the year, or we cannot like completely say that now we are going to be self-sufficient this year, or there can be of excess rainfall or can be of very less rainfall and may lead to drought conditions also. So keeping that matter in this context, so we are discussing the topic this uncertain and limited annual rainfall. So in the topic, sir, we are going to discuss the topic into three parts, that is pre-monsoon, monsoon and post-monsoon. So pre-monsoon is that comes before the monsoon season. So here in this stage, what the farmers do is they anxiously wait for the rainfall. They prepare their own fields and select the drought-resistant crops. But whereas in the monsoon season, so these rainfall patterns are very unpredictable. So that with potential for both drought and flooding. So there are some uncertainties that may either lead to complete damage of the crop or partial damage of the crop, or if everything goes well, that they may receive the good crop and good yields that year. But that's very uncertain, so we cannot guarantee that that's going to be happen. So then next comes to the topic this post monsoon. So this farmers rely on residual soil moisture after this completion of the monsoon, because they have to store the water in certain places, and they have to use the water they are having in a very like in a very planned manner, that too like they should not over irrigate, or they have to give the less irrigation. So that's the biggest challenge being faced in the farmer community. So that's what we call the facing challenges in the water management. So this is about the uncertain and limited annual rainfall. So next comes is the very interesting and also very important characteristic, that's the extensive climatic hazards. So this rain-fed agricultures, so already when connecting with the first point, we can say that there can be chances of getting either drought or floods also. So by this we can understand there can be a more chances of this extensive climatic hazards also. So if we discuss about the drought, so like we can see that if the monsoon fails, so there won't be some enough in efficient water or like enough sufficient water for our agriculture. So that may lead to drought. So this may lead to the prolonged dry spells that may lead to the either partial crop failure or complete crop failure may happen. So that may lead to the losses in the farmer's investment, and not only that, the company is going to or the country is going to face the challenges in food and food security problems in the upcoming years. Whereas it may also lead to floods. So if there is some excess rainfall, and generally people, if they are prepared for this excess rainfall also, it's not possible for them to protect the whole crop. So this excessive rainfalls also causes waterlogging and soil erosion in some parts, and complete flooding also may lead to the death of the crop also. So that may also happen. Whereas when there can be, like, after the drought followed by some, there will be hot temperatures in the country or in the place, so that may also give some heat waves. So this year also we are familiar that you hear this, all the trending topic about the India this summer was about the heat waves. So this high temperature stress crops, and it's also reduces the yields. So followed by, there can be also chances of some storms or the heavy winds. So these winds, especially at the time of harvesting, so that may cause a lot of damage to the crops. So that will be leaving the farmers with the losses, and also like like a challenge for the food security of the nation. So that's how this extensive climatic hazards. So not only don't limit this only this topic to only this four, but these are some of the examples of this extensive climatic hazards that are being faced in this rain-fed agriculture areas. So like this drought, floods, heat waves, and storms are some of the important climatic hazards that are more common in the rain-fed agriculture areas. So next is the undulating soil surface. This is also one of the important characteristics of this rain-fed agriculture, because as in the previously slide we are discussing about the extensive climatic hazards. So we were discussing about the soil erosion, waterlogging conditions, heavy winds or storms are happening. So like that's are going to be a potential risk, and that are also going to cause some effects like erosion risk, water management problems, nutrient loss, or microclimatic variations. So as we are discussing previously also about the soil erosion, so especially in the sloping terrains or in the hilly areas, so there will be more chances for the soil erosion due to heavy rainfalls and due to heavy floods or heavy runoff of water. So this is not only hampering the soil conditions, but also it's also taking the fertility of the soil, because all the important and the fertile soil that is suitable for the agriculture is being carried away with the along with the run of heavy water or heavy rains or heavy water rainfalls and all. So next followed by is the water management. So uneven surfaces complicate the irrigation and water irrigation efforts also. Like it becomes very tough for the people who are doing agriculture in those areas, especially those in the slopey and hilly areas. It won't be easy for them to manage the water and all. Next is as erosion is the key one. So it's also affecting the nutrient capacity of the soil also. So because of this, due to the loss of the top layer of the soil, so this all the topsoil and nutrients are also easily washed away from the fertile lands. So this also going to cause some nutrient deficiency or nutrient deficient symptoms in the plant, and that's ultimately affecting the not only the cultivation but also the yield and quality of the crop. So whereas it also causes the microclimatic variations, like due to different terrains and different slopes, they create varied growing conditions within a single field. So that's going to be easily affect the immediate surroundings of the crop, and that's going to have a lot of effect, especially on the yield and also on the quality of the yield also. So that don't limit this your topic to only this two four, but there can be also more chances. So this undulating soil surface also is very key for the cultivation, that too especially in the rain-fed agriculture. Like India, when we are having a significant contribution to the agriculture sector by this rain-fed agriculture, so this also plays a key role. So next is the extensive agriculture, because like due to the previous constraint, due to uncertainty of rainfall and also the limited rainfall due to its erratic distribution, and that to extensive climatic hazards and also the undulating soil surfaces, it's not possible for the farmers to go for the intensive agriculture. It's not possible for them to go for two or more crops in a year. So like because due to this limited rainfall, so there can be a chances that many times there is only a possibility for a single crop. So it's not possible, and that too in the single crop, it's not possible for the farmers to grow all the kinds of crops, because they have to choose the like different varieties that are suitable for that conditions. For example, if there is very less rainfall, so they have to choose the drought resistant. So that drought resistant varieties may or may not be available in all the crops, or if they are available, they are not available in the same place also. So that can be a restriction. So that due to these characters, so there can be chances of more extensive agriculture only. The first thing that we have to discuss in this agriculture is the low input, because that farmers use minimal fertilizers and pesticides due to their financial constraints. So yeah, like due to the lack of more like investment, so it's not possible for the farmer to purchase the all the costly fertilizers and pesticides and to do farm operations efficiently, and also that they are not guaranteed that they are going to get the good yield or the good quality of yield. So that is also a one of the main constraint that's like leading to this extensive agriculture in these rain-fed regions. And the next is the relying on the traditional methods, because still there are many farmers, they are also using this age-old farming techniques that are being passed from their previous generations, and they are continuing still with those traditions only. So next is the diverse cropping systems. Diverse like cropping systems include multiple crops are grown together to mitigate the risk of crop failure. So like one of the best thing that they are doing is this intercropping system. So in this intercropping system, they are growing one or two crops that they so that they can like more than two crops we can say, like so that if one crop fails, that they are going to get at least minimum some yield from the other crops, so that will compensate their investment, and also like that will provide some food. So this that's how it's going to lead this extensive agriculture. Next is the relatively larger plot size. So as we know that this rainfed agriculture are not much densely populated areas, and also the plot sizes where in these areas will be more, because due to less population and also less people doing agriculture in these areas. So there will be a relatively larger plot size, but there won't be much yield or much management practices. So if you see this table, like in the farm size and percentage of the rain-fed farms that are in, so like those who are having less than 2 hectares, they are characterized as small farmers, and that's around 40%. Whereas 2 to 10 hectares were medium, so the around 45% of the rain-fed farms are in this medium. Whereas in the large, greater than 10 hectares, that's contributing up to 15%. So that's how these relatively larger plot sizes are there. But there is no, due to this extensive agriculture or due to this erratic distribution or limited rainfall or due to this extensive climatic hazards. So this is also going to hamper the production or in the rain-fed areas. So this can be one of the reasons we can say that even though they are having the larger plot size, but they are not going to get the maximum yield. The next is the similar type of crops. In the previous also we are discussing in the topic extensive agriculture that it's not suitable for the farmers to go for each and every crop. For example, we can say that if there is any drought situation in the country or in the place or in our village, so it's not possible for all the farmers or for us to go for the like more water required crops like paddy. So automatically we'll shift to that crops those require like less water requirement. So example like millets, or we'll go for some cotton. So this is more prevalent in our surrounding areas in this Telangana, and especially in this Karimnagar and Warangal areas. That if there is some abundant rainfall, so farmers are going for growing pad, paddy. If not, so they are going to grow this cotton. As you all are familiar that the BT cotton is very famous here in our places. So this is also restricting them. So not only this that, but also that there should be some drought resistance character in the crops that are going to be also grown in these places. So as this is restricted to only a few or some crops, so it's a very big constraint we can say. So that's why there will be always similar types of crops are seen, because almost all the farmers in a village try to go for the similar type of crops. So like the one of the best suitable crops here in this rain-fed agriculture will be the millets, pulses, oil seeds, and also cotton. So like in the millets, these drought-resistant grains like sorghum and pearl millets are the staple crops we can see in the rain-fed areas. Whereas in the pulses, the legumes such as pigeon pea and chickpea, those fix the nitrogen in the soil, are very much useful in this rain-fed agriculture, as they are not only contributing to the food production or the pulse production, but are also enriching the soil with their nitrogen fixing mechanism. The next comes is the oil seeds, especially here in our area also we can see that. See, the ground and sesame are the important cash crops in the rain-fed regions. So this groundnut and sesame are being cultivated by the local farmers also, and there are a number of varieties of these oil seeds also, especially the groundnut are available in our locality. So these people are going for this, so they can be both there for the home consumption and also for the commercial they are producing here in our places also, as we are familiar that even around the premises of our university also there are many farmers who are cultivating these crops. The next comes is the cotton. So this place where we are present currently residing is famous for BT cotton. So like when there is a like less rainfall or some mild drought conditions, so the people are going to sow this cotton. So a like major commercial crop that's adapted to semi-arid conditions is, we can say that that's the cotton. So that's how that only a very few crops are going to be grown in this rainfed agriculture, and we cannot expect the maximum yield also from there. So that's how it's going to become that the similar type of crops are being grown in these rainfed conditions. So next is the lower yield. So as we are discussing in the previous characteristics also that there are some lower yields. So there can be many reasons for this lower yield. Either that's coming from this water stress or rainfall conditions or due to the climatic hazards or these erosion factors or due to this extensive or availability of extensive agriculture or availability of some other like seed or fertilizer or resistant varieties and also land holding capacities and all. So that's how like first we discussed under this lower crop yield topic. So we are going to discuss about this water stress, nutrient deficiency, pest and disease, and also the some of the technology and its limited factors. So like as we are familiar in the first from the first chapter always we are discussing about this water stress conditions only. So this insufficient rainfall leads to stunted growth and reduced yields because due to the lack of water or this like very less water available, it's not possible for the farmers to give the irrigation in all the critical stages. Like or especially like one or two irrigations may or may not be possible. That too we cannot guarantee. So with that available less amount of water, the farmers has to give the irrigation to the crop or else they have to completely depend on the soil residue moisture only. So that's how it's going to lead these water stress conditions that too in the critical stages. So which is going to affect not only their physical growth but also that's going to affect the yield and also the quality of yield. Next comes the nutrient deficiency. So due to the poor soil quality and limited fertilizer use, so these are also going to affect the crop productivity also. Like we are discussing about the previously about the erosion also due to the loss of top layer of the soil due to this erosion, it's also limiting the soil quality. And along with that, the lack of investment and also the uncertainty in the yields, the farmers are also going to invest less and also that the application of the fertilizers is limited only. So that's how it's going to hamper the crop productivity also. So next comes is the pest and disease effects. So like now if you see that the healthy plant is less susceptible to pests and diseases. So same like a healthy man and active fit man is less prone to various diseases. In the same way, these plants are also having that characteristics. So like when the plant is so much stressed or else wilted and it's very showing some deficiency symptoms and so it's more susceptible to more pests and diseases. So like these stressed plants are more susceptible to pests and diseases, which is in turn going to affect the crop yield and also the quality of the yield also. So and next is the limited technology. So like due to the lack of modern farming techniques further reduces the potential yields because first of all the main thing is the investment. So due to the investment or due to the lack of very less investment, we can say that now it's not possible for the farmers in that locality to gather or procure the highly sophisticated equipment because that's going to cost them a lot. So these people, what they are going to, so they are still sticking to the ancient old age practices so that they can at least get some input so that they are putting less investment. So that's because of that also that the technology, even though that's available in the country or in the state, that's not reaching to the farmer also because like they are showing less interest in the producing or procuring the new technical or sophisticated machinery also. So that's how it's also reducing the potentiality of the yield. That's how leading to the less yield and also the challenges to the nutrition, malnutrition, and also on the food security of the nation. Next is the poor market for the producers. So this can be discussed like very well because na poor market for the producers because we are also discussing about the like, na, less yield and also the quality of the yield is being also affected. Like who is going to pay much for a like low quality yield one? So that's how. So not only that, there can be other chances that na, limited infrastructure, price volatility, and also dependency on the middlemen and low value perception also is one of the key factors that are being leading to the poor market of the produce in these rain-fed agriculture areas. So if we go deep into the limited infrastructure point, so poor roads and storage facilities hinder access to the large markets. So like whatever that's being produced in these places, so due to the lack of proper storage facilities, so it's not possible for them to store for a long time. So and even this majority they will be easily perishable. So what they are going to is they are going to sold in the nearby market or to the middleman that's available in their area before it's being perished and they get some money. So that's how it's happened. Next is the price volatility. So this fluctuation rainfall leads to unpredictable harvest and unstable prices. Like imagine the cost of a tomato. So is that same or similar in all the parts of the country round the year? No. See that the price of example the tomato, so that will go for more than 100 rupees per a kg in one season. That will fall to 1 or 2 rupees per kg in other season. So that's how that's going to affect the market also. So that's how this price volatility is contributing to this poor market for the produce. The next is the dependency on the middlemen. So these farmers often rely on their intermediaries and also reducing their profit margins. It's not possible for the farmers due to this limited infrastructure also. It's not all the markets are not accessible to the farmers. So what happens is they are depending on the middlemen. So these middlemen are going to procure the product with a like nominal price or with cheap prices, and they are going to transport that into the distant markets, and they are going to fetch more profits. So that's how also it's happened. Next is the low value perception. So rain-fed crops are often undervalued compared to the irrigated produce. So due to the perception of the people and also the taste of the people and this changing markets, so the value for the crop is also given less. So that's how it's going to produce the poor market for the produce or the yield. So that's how this poor market for produce is one of the important characteristics of this rain-fed agriculture. So next is the poor farmers economy. So we are discussing that. So there is no majority of the people here in this will be dependent on rainfall for their agriculture. So they are not going to get or they are not getting good yield, good price for their produce. So imagine how their economy is going to be. The first thing under this topic, what we are going to discuss is low investment, high risk, debt cycle, and limited diversification. In low investment, limited resources restrict farmer from adapting modern farming techniques. So this point we were also discussing in the previous slides also, like how this low investment is being affecting the farmer's yield and also his food security and economic status. Next is the high risk. So dependence on rainfall makes income highly unpredictable because if there is a good rainfall, there can be chances of better economy or better yields or better price. So that's how it's going to impact the economy. But whereas when there is some like erratic rainfall or insufficient rainfall in that year, so we cannot predict what's going to happen in these cases. So that's how it's leading to this poor economy of farmers. Next is the debt cycle. So these crop failures often lead to borrowing at high interest rates. So because we were discussing previously also about that there is more chances for the crop failure. So if there is any crop failure in a season, so what happens is so the all the investment by the farmer will be lost. So the farmer has to either dependent on some money lender or from a bank or any other financial institution. So if this repeats for 2 or 3 times, so imagine the position of a farmer. What happens? So this farmer is going to get or going to borrow money from some other money lender. So like that too with the high interest. After taking that also the interest is going to be added for the sum every year. But if there is any rainfall or less rainfall or any some climatic hazard or less yield or else completely failure of rainfall, so what happens? Again that person or that farmer is again debt ridden. So next, so that will happen, and this will be like leading to the less investment also and also high risk also. That's how they are also like affecting the mindset of the farmer also to go for like any challenging or risk taking or some other buying of some modern machinery for their agriculture also. The next is the limited diversification. So lack of alternative income sources increases vulnerability to agriculture shocks. So like when the farmers are completely dependent on the cropping only. So if there is some erratic rainfall or unequal distribution happens, so they will be easily affected. But whereas the farmer is going to have like different enterprises in his field itself. Imagine he's also having some field, he's having some dairy, and also he's having some poultry. Imagine if he is going to get some loss or some less yield from the crop, so he can compensate that from either dairy or poultry like that. So that's how it's increasing the vulnerability to agriculture shocks, also leading to the less income. So like it is advised that the farmer should have some alternative sources of the income also, so that like their father, their financial self status also won't get down. So next is the poor health of the farmers and cattle. As we know that farmer is poor from the previous slide, and also there are some climatic hazards like unequal rainfall or lower yields and oils. So this is not only affecting the crop but also affecting the health of the farmers and the cattle also. Like the malnutrition and limited healthcare access affects the farmers' physical well-being. So this stress from this uncertain livelihoods also his impacts his mental health. This point we are also discussing in the previous slides also. Next comes to the cattle health. So this insufficient fodder during rainy seasons leads to undernourished livestock. So limited veterinary services result in poor animal health and management, because if there is a drought conditions, there won't be enough fodder. So if there is no enough fodder, so that's going to impact the cattle also. Like if the cattle is healthy, it can give more dairy or more milk, or they can work more. But if there is insufficient fodder, so that may leads to the undernourishment of the livestock. So this, and also not only this, due to the availability of limited veterinary services, so that also affect the health management of the cattle. So which in turn affecting the financial and economic status of the farmer also. So that's how it's going to play a key role. So that's how the poor health of farmers and cattle is one of the important characteristics of this rain-fed agriculture. So after the completion of this characteristics of rain-fed agriculture, so we are going to discuss about the future prospects and challenges of this rain-fed agriculture in the Indian scenario. So like water management. The first point that we are going to discuss under this future prospects and challenges is water management. So this improved rainfall harvesting and conservation techniques are crucial. So as we are familiar that now there will be some uncertainties in the rainfall. So there can be sometimes there can be extreme drought conditions or sometimes there can be flood conditions. So in order to cope up with the problems like that, so if there is some well-planned infrastructure and if there is any facility for the storage of water in the ponds, lakes or reservoirs, so it will be more useful for the farmers to get the sufficient amount of water for the irrigation purposes, their own consumption, and also for the rearing of this livestock. So that's how this improved rainfall harvesting and conservation techniques are very crucial for the rain-fed agriculture regions. Next is climate resilient crops. So the development of drought-tolerant varieties can enhance the productivity and can pave the words for the better food security conditions of the country, because like choosing the crops that are tolerant to the extreme drought conditions is one of the key factors, and that can play a key role in the future food security of the nation. Next is the technology adoption. So this technology adoption is also one of the key factors. In the previous slides, we were discussing about the like due to the less investment and less interest in buying the like adoption or buying or adoption of new technologies, so that's hampering the yield and yield quality, and also the affecting the malnutrition and also the food security of the nation. So like when these farmers adopt the like new methods in agriculture like precision farming and digital tools, so which can optimize the resource use and can fetch like more yield per each and every square kilometers, or like more profit with less investment. So that's how it's going to help the India to come out of this shortage of food. Next is the market linkages. So better infrastructure and direct market access can improve the farmer income. So previously we are also discussing about the lack of infrastructure in front of like involvement of the middlemen, and also like selling in the local markets. So that's fetching them less profits. So like if there is a better infrastructure and access to the markets directly, the farmer himself can go there and like they can fetch more profits by selling the produce in their own interest, and also like now like their own price. So that's how these market linkages are also going to play a key role in this rain-fed agriculture and food production also. So like these are not only these four are not only this. So there are also many other points also can be discussed, because as this is going to be a very big topic and also an open topic. So there can be many other factors also. So that's how we have come to the end of this topic, this rain-fed agriculture in India, its characteristics and challenges.